Hello, everybody. Welcome to our final episode of our summer series with Covideo and iPacket. My name is Anna Spade. I'm a senior account executive here at Covideo, and I've been here for about 4 years now. Anna, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, so I'm Hannah Farmer. I'm a sales director here with iPacket, and I've been with them for about 2 years now. So happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yes, it's great to talk with you. I'm excited to kind of wrap up this series here with our teams. And today we're going to be talking about enjoyment and how we can really just make the car buying process more enjoyable using great tools like Covideo and iPacket. So kind of to give us some background and to dive right in, let's talk a little bit more about maybe a recent car buying experience that you had, Hannah, and if that was fun and enjoyable for you.
Yeah. So, it's funny, having been in the car business kind of my whole life, I feel like friends always go to me when they want to purchase a vehicle. So, I had one of my best friends and her fiance come to me. They wanted to purchase their first luxury vehicle. And I have a big background with Lexus, one of the brands that I used to work with. So, they came to me and they kind of leaned on me for which dealership to go to, where they're going to get the best experience. And we're all in our young 30s and just kind of want to have fun purchasing the vehicle, especially just when it's your first luxury car. It's a really big moment. So with that being said, it was kind of funny because, we went to the store and we had so much excitement and anticipation and, videos and everything that you could get excited before you walked into the dealership. But once we got there, it was just kind of funny because it was a lot of sitting around, a lot of waiting. I mean, they had the beverages, they had a wonderful cafe, but there was just so much time where we were just kind of sitting there waiting to get an F&I. And yeah, it was, I expected so much based off of like the pre introduction, if you will. But yeah, so that was fun.
I was gonna say, and I feel like too, a lot of times people do really well in the beginning. They send you over the materials, they give you all that stuff to look over, and then it kind of falls flat once you get into the dealership to actually, have that appointment. And it's hard to find a way to really keep that excitement and that anticipation going all the way throughout the car buying process, which I know iPacket is a really good tool to kind of help out with that, because obviously they get a ton of information about that vehicle, and then they can actually look over that too if there is a little bit of downtime when you first get into the dealership.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I feel like with both of us, I mean, iPacket and Covideo, obviously, because you can integrate the video portion of it. When we meet dealer partners or we work with dealers, there's so much emphasis on what happens before the customer comes in. How do we convert them to come to our dealership to submit the lead through us? But, it's really important to kind of look at how do we make that current process within the dealership actually be enjoyable. And I think, one thing iPacket and Covideo, I think, can kind of work with is, our system, iPacket, for example, it's like while a customer is waiting for the F&I office, they can look through the different parts of documentation. They can revisit what was done to that vehicle. They can kind of share that information with their loved ones and get excited. So I think there's so much areas of opportunity, if you will, to just be able to build that up to be a focus area, not so much just heavy up on getting them into the store, but what happens when they're there.
Definitely. And I feel like video, like you said, kind of goes hand in hand with that because it really adds a level of transparency too, so that it's not something that brings anxiety. They're not worried about, oh, is this, car everything that I think it is? Am I getting swindled? Am I getting a good vehicle? Both iPacket and Covideo really give that level of transparency, which again helps build up that excitement. They can, like you said, send it to friends, review it while they're waiting, just to make sure it is more of a fun experience from start to finish versus having any like anticipation or anxieties while you're there waiting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think too, having our generation and all these, future generations coming up to the car buying process, it is such a outdated process, if you will, and it's so untrusting as well. So, bringing a product like iPacket in as well as Covideo, people are seeing people who look like them. They're seeing the energy, they can relate to who they are. And then instead of wondering, am I getting a good deal on this car? Are they, skimping me? Did they actually repair this vehicle like they said they would? These are all areas that we're able to, really accommodate some of these future generations with just making it more fun and easier and trusting.
Yeah, it improves the communication too. Like I think the biggest thing, and being in sales myself for years, the biggest thing that I've always heard is people buy from people they like. And I feel like being able to have that level of trust with them, with Covideo being able to send, video messages of themselves, showing their personality, showing the enthusiasm that they have for the car buying experience and just vehicles themselves. I feel like that just goes a really, really long way with that trust and that like building process before the purchase is completed.
Yeah, and I also think too, going just kind of the car buying process as a whole, and even with it just being such an old school industry, I feel like video and adding energy, and then taking packets and adding fun PDFs and a lot of different ways to bring personality. It's like those are what people want to do business with now, not necessarily who has the best fitted suit with the tightest tie, who can speak the most eloquently. It's a lot more about how do you bring personality. And again, I think both of us, it's exciting to work with companies that do add that element of the experience, if you will.
Yes, I feel like it's more about being relatable and like trustworthy and a friend now than it used to be. I feel like that has been just a huge shift. And I was actually thinking about, since we were talking about when you get to the dealership and kind of that anticipation and getting excited and what you do during that downtime, it made me think about iPacket. And when you all first started, you actually were like binders, weren't you? That you were actually given to the dealer or to the customer when they walked into the dealership.
Yeah. So it's really cool. The product was actually kind of based off of, it was a one price dealer group that you can't negotiate price when you're a one price structure. So, they were making paper packets, if you will, and putting all this information together. And they saw the value of printing that paper and assembling it for every single vehicle. And that's how the idea was born. But it's been a fun culture, but I think that translates in, again, just kind of bringing that enthusiasm, if you will, to our partners.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no, it's definitely a great product, and we're super happy to have a partner as great as you. I know all of our customers love iPacket, so it's always great to chat with you.
I was going to ask you, so what is it? Have you had a recent experience? Like, when was the last time you purchased a car? And kind of tell me about your experience.
Oh man, so I almost bought a car about a month ago. My old car broke down, and so I was trying to get a new vehicle. And I never ended up actually buying one. And I think part of the kind of hesitation was I felt like I didn't know what was going on. I had never bought a car before. I'm pretty young. I'm 26. So this was my first car. And I just felt like no one took the time to try to explain things to me or give me more details on the car or share, financing options. Like it just seemed very short. Like they just wanted to get me in the dealership and then they were going to take care of everything else once I was there. And I never ended up going in, which again kind of brings it back to, would I have been more willing to explore it if I had some more information, if I had something like an iPacket that broke down, the car I was interested in, or a Covideo of a real sales rep who seemed like they were really excited to meet me versus just a text message where I felt like they were just trying to, close the deal, get the sale, get me in the door. So I feel like that definitely goes hand in hand with that as well.
Yeah. And I was just thinking too, it's kind of funny because it's like you look at some of these new emerging companies and what they're trying to do, and they're trying to play on the fun factor, the fun element. Like, companies like Carvana, they made the car vending machine. I mean, why else make a car vending machine unless you're just trying to have that like funny little like niche thing about yourself? So yeah, and even the commercials that they came out with, like they were always like fun, cutesy. So I mean, there definitely is something to be said. And I know people who purchase vehicles from them just because of the fun aura, if you will. So
and I feel like it's a generational thing for sure. Like our generation, the generations coming after us, even more so than ours. Like I feel like that is going to be a huge thing that they need to lean on. They need to lean on, social media and videos and a more fun experience versus the old school approaches that they had to, sales and car sales. And I feel like that's going to be a big change in things in the automotive industry as well.
Yeah. And even like, I mean, service bays where like I've seen, where they just have like fun little food options, or like they have a hostess that like really brings the personality, or even the one dealership that we did go to with my friends, they were dog friendly, but like that definitely made it way more fun just because like who doesn't love like fur babies? So
yeah, bring your dog, see if your dog likes the car, test it all out. No, I love that. Yeah. Definitely just adds another level of enjoyment for them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like even in service, we are starting to see some video being used, like Covideo side. Like we do a little bit of service too to kind of make that side of things more fun and enjoyable, and again, add that level of transparency there.
Yeah, and I will say too, the follow up and just kind of because we talked about, how do they make it fun in the beginning? How do they make it fun when they're in the dealership? I will say, when customers leave, just also having those community events. Like I mean, in a previous role with the OEM, I was a sales rep, and some dealerships would do those after sales events where they would bring everyone to a restaurant and teach them
Right.
about the technology. And I think really communicating that stuff because I think a lot of stores do it and I think a lot of people would participate in it, but it just kind of
Definitely.
gets lost in translation or we don't put emphasis on those things as much as we should. And again,
Right.
it's just people never used to do it, so they just don't think it's necessary. But what a
Mhm.
difference that can actually make to the experience to have these kind of events to feel like a community afterwards, especially again, going to our generation, we love to like have a sense of belonging or like have these groups that we can go to and socialize. So
For
yeah.
sure. And it helps with the longevity too of your customer base. That's one thing we always talk about is we want to have repeat customers. So you want to be memorable. And
Yep.
I can't tell you the number of times that we even get calls here at Covideo of people like, hey, my car dealer sent me a video. Like, what was this? It was just so cool. Like, we want to be able to replicate this and do this in our own business outside of car sales. So that just goes to show too that it makes such a big impact. The second you take the time to put together an iPacket or to send a personalized video, that you're really going to stand out and probably have a longer lasting relationship with that customer too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that we both are working for companies that can bring a little bit more fun to every day.
Yes, yes, a little bit more fun, a little bit more personalization, but it's been great talking with you. And iPacket's always been just a wonderful partner of ours. So it was great to take some time together today.
Same with Covideo. Thanks for having me.